I have Fred Boat muted, so I have no idea.
Perfect. Perfect. There you go. Yeah, keep him muted if you don't want to hear the Black Knight 2000 theme. Because that's what I've been feeling of late. It's kind of terrible, and I love it. Something about that old Williams, Midway, Dan Forden era. Very cheesy.
Oh, it's quite cheesy.
Oh yeah.
But those are my favorite pinball machines, the cheesy ones.
Yeah. All right, welcome back, Brennan. So I will throw it to you. Welcome to Pinballers with Brennan, Shannon, David, and Austin, and a very cantankerous Fred Boat playing the music.
Quite cantankerous indeed.
Indeed.
Austin, I don't know if you covered this or anybody asked you about it while I was gone. How's Alice Cooper treating you? Also, you are on mute, so it's possible you didn't hear this.
Yeah, I typically stay on mute. I was walking around. I was just closing the garage door. No, I appreciate that. Yeah, man, Alice Cooper. Honestly, it's going to be, I think, one of our favorite games long term. It's playing well. I should definitely upgrade the code on it. Just other things going on, but I like it. It's definitely one of those. I think it will take a while to master, and so that's always enjoyable.
Yeah, that's a tough game. What were you saying, Shannon?
I just said that's awesome.
Yeah. Have you done anything or had any issues in terms of gameplay, mechanical stuff yet, or has it been smooth sailing?
You know, the one complaint that I had early on, I don't know if you recall, mentioning just the fact that, on every game there's always an area where the ball can get trapped. I mean, I haven't seen a game yet that's not true of. And this one and the mechanics behind the monster definitely gets trapped there. And I don't know if you recall, I spent like 10 minutes on one of our streams I'd mentioned before the stream actually fishing the ball out when I literally couldn't find it on the playfield, only to find that it had gone, I think it fell through that mechanical area and behind the monster and fell down into the cabinet, which I've never seen any other pinball do.
I've heard of that happening. I have actually heard of that exact same thing happening where the guy spent, 15 minutes looking for it before he, on a whim, just legitimately opened it up and looked at the bottom, and there it was. I don't know how that happens either. I've never heard of that, but interesting.
It's not a fault you can't overcome because it's got some really cool mechanical effects. I think they should have just done a little better job of having the monster close down into a surface that doesn't have any gape around it that would allow that ball to escape. And it's got two pretty bad trap areas, but I mean, if you're not going wild and shooting it up high, that's not a big deal. The thing about the monster is you can actually get a shot that goes up for ball to lock that area and fall into that gap before it careens down into the right spot. Still not a big deal. I mean, it is safe to say that I do keep the keys in there around it because of the ball trap situation. But it's not bad enough that you, at least me, I don't find it aggravating. I think it's such a fun game. And I'll probably eventually, I'll look into probably a solution for that, whatever I have to do. If I have to, get in there and take some measurements and have somebody bring out their SLS printer and print something for it or whatever the case may be. It should be, honestly, it should be pretty easy to remedy. I think it just needs a simple aftermarket mod.
Sounds about right. And you're on the latest code and everything? Because I know a lot of this stuff has been fixed. It did have a lot of issues at launch.
I'm not, actually. I'm on the original code, and I'll tell you why. And this is a little bit more drawn out, and maybe a little bit for the technical folks that care about this stuff. But it's got 10 stadiums on it. And if you remember me mentioning the 4-wire setup on the lamps, it's an RGB setup to produce 256 colors. So unlike LEDs that are using a lot of sterns and what have you, this actually has kind of unique style setup to get the lights illuminated. And so the normal setup for a pin stadium doesn't really work. Meaning that, you normally tie it to a GI somewhere and it turns it on and everything's all great. You don't really have that option here. And so there was a little bit of a special configuration done on this one, which was fully and completely revealed to me before we got it. And so the good thing is it came with pin stadiums, and I like it. It really lights up the game really well. The bad thing is if I update the code, the fix that they did goes away. I don't want to say it was a hack. It was really kind of a really cool fix. And so I'll definitely give that up at some point. And the other thing is I'm not sure what I'm going to transfer those pin stadium lights onto if I don't like how they look afterwards. So I've got to give up one thing, if you will, to get the other. So I've got to give up the current functionality, which is actually pretty nice, of the pin stadium lights, to get it on the latest code, which I'm absolutely going to do because $1 Billion Babies is buggy on this version.
Yeah.
As is there's actually a track mechanism on a lock where it doesn't determine ball count correct every time, and so you'll get this condition where it'll throw out 2 balls, and then the first one you lose is the dead ball, and then that second ball is just kind of up there in space, careening down towards dead flippers. I've seen that happen a couple times. So yeah, to your point, I'll have to do that at some point. I haven't bit the bullet yet, just because we had so many things coming in at once, and I was selling so many things at once. I wanted to get everything settled in the house, kind of have things calm down at work, because I had so many things going on. Then I'm going to dig in there and refine it. And so the next thing I'll probably do is code upgrade, and then I'll probably take a micrometer to the play field and see exactly what I need to do to fill in that gap. I really do think it'll be as simple as a piece of plastic positioned correctly around the monster. And then there's probably a plastic shield I'll put up towards the guillotine, that right ramp when you go to back shoot it, right? Your backhand shot on the right ramp guillotine. There's actually a dead space up there that it can get trapped to, and I'll probably put I don't have an SLS printer. I'll probably have someone do this for me. So I'll probably take some measurements, pull out the micrometer, see exactly what it needs to be. I'll probably put a plastic shield that's SLS printed up there so that the ball in essence hits a plastic scoop facing forward, or I might even pull out a wire bender. I don't know. I'll see what works best. It'll be either wire or a plastic shield up there. So honestly, it's probably like less than $1 worth of material at the end of the day to really fix what could be a game breaker, right? For some people who just would get frustrated over that. And to me, it's just honestly, it's not a big deal. I could pick apart any game on design, arcade or otherwise. So I don't take that approach. I'm just like, okay, well, and maybe I'll even submit it as a fix to them because they're pretty cool in that way. They've actually already done a lot of fixes on Rick and Morty feedback from the field. I mean, so I kind of take that and say, well, this is an organization that's still learning and they want to learn more. And I think they'll actually take the feedback the way I'll deliver it anyways, right? With positive reaction and may even mod it. But they've modified Rick and Morty. I know there's at least 3 what I would consider fairly substantial mods aftermarket to Rick and Morty that improve it considerably.
The creativity of the pinball community never ceases to amaze me, and this is from somebody who's lucky to put it on a flipper rubber. So,
well, and here's the thing, I know you asked me about Alice Cooper, but take Rick and Morty. And by the way, I love everything about it. Y'all know I'm a big fan. We're eventually getting one, and when we do, I already know of a critical issue on the playfield. The center shot to the garage is actually there's a fix already where you basically take 2 really what I would consider like a standard depth 1/4 inch washer, which gives about 1/8 of an inch playfield raise, and you put 2 of them under there to get the scoop and the playfield at the correct level so that you don't get a 70% ball reject rating. So, I mean, you think about that and you think about all the things that people complain about with Stern or anyone else, and it's just one of those things where you're like, man, this happens to everybody. Guess what? The playfield dimples too. It happens to everybody. So I don't know. I mean, people, I think, can become too critical sometimes, and I always appreciate, if you're going out of your way to create something, I know for a fact it's not going to be perfect, and I don't know. I appreciate the creativity side. And back to Alice Cooper, I mean, it's just like Rick and Morty. It is an absolutely gorgeous machine. I think I mentioned they have a gray version and a blue version, and that blue version, the blue powder coating. It's just, to me, it's gorgeous. So on top of it being a really cool game, I can sit there beside it. I've actually got a Neo Geo 29-inch Candy that's right beside it. And I think that's why I noticed Allison Cooper more, the artwork on it, because I'm literally beside it on that 29-inch playing, and I see that beautiful artwork and how gorgeous it is. So it's one of those games that to me it's like complaining about a Lamborghini. You know,
Sure.
you're driving a Lamborghini. You know what I mean? So I like it.
Yeah, it's only going to get better.
Question. Austin, what are you playing on the Neo Geo?
So on the Neo Geo Candy, I have two. So let me qualify this first thing that I've got. We have two Neo Geos, and we also have two Neo Geo Dark Softs. There's a Dark Soft for CPS2. There's a Dark Soft for Neo Geo.
Right. Actually,
And I'll be honest with
I have
you.
one over there.
Yeah. So I've got two Neo Geo Dark Softs, and as you probably tell, we went into this, you know, full force a couple years ago when we started collecting. I've got so many things that are projects. Those Neo Geo Dark Softs are still setting in box, brand new. I have Nightmare in the Dark. I have an original Nightmare in the Dark cart, and I just go in there and play it. It's a relaxing game for me. I know it's not for everyone. Some would say it's too simple. Some say it's too pattern oriented, but I'm still what I would consider perfecting that game at my own pace. So I don't. You probably know me by now well enough to know that, one, I don't even get to go into my own house and play pins on a regular basis, even though they're, you know, literally across the house from where I work. And so if I'm not turning on my pins every day, I'm certainly not turning on all the arcades every day. In fact, I think the arcades, the only one that's been turned on in probably the past 3 weeks is the Neo Geo. And so I'll sit down over there, I'll play Nightmare in the Dark, because it's a relaxing game for me. I can get through it start to finish in about, I don't know, 25 minutes. I was actually playing a game just before this one, and just perfecting little nuances of the game. I'm still learning. There's not a lot of inner information, if you will, you know, Easter eggs and stuff like that you will, that are in normal games. And so I'm finding all those on my own. And so that to me is very satisfying. A game that only takes 25 minutes of my time, very satisfying. So I'll sit down over there. I may play a game and just like I did not too long before the stream here, and just, you know, going about my business. But I do have a multi-cart, not a Dark Soft, but a multi-cart in the other one that allows Tracy to play a lot of Neo Geo games too. So we've got a 4-slot stand-up and a 29-inch Candy.
I can't wait to see what your ultimate score is on Nightmare in the Dark whenever you bring that score to free play.
Yeah, it'll be pretty fun. The published world record is 23.4 million, and I think 30 million is possible. I need to set up a permanent recorder so that I can figure out a couple of different elements where I think I can maximize point scoring, but I think I can get 30. I found an Easter egg that I haven't been able to duplicate reliably on 2 different screens that would be interesting to show live. So yeah, that'd be pretty cool to do, I suppose.
Awesome. Also, do you have an extra bedroom available to rent? Asking for a friend who likes pinball. We do. Our secondary pinball room, which now has 3 pins in it. Our secondary pinball room has the Simpsons Pinball Party, The Walking Dead, and now the RFM / Episode 1 swappable cab that we have. And so in that area, yeah, we that's our guest bed. So there's a queen size, it's queen size bed that's in there as a you know, come in, play a game, pass out, do whatever. And it's kind of funny. I think the only person that's ever taken advantage of staying over is probably our daughter, but she doesn't come over that often. So yeah, so we always set it up just in case. But yeah, one of those things. So yeah, it's certainly available if anyone needs to crash. Well, it's weird, you know, with episode 1 and Jar Jar Binks just chattering away while
Staring
trying
at
to
you,
sleep on the queen size. It's just less than ideal in
Yeah.
that way, but you know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, well, and we have them all on like wireless power, so we can turn them on, you know, and turn them off, and don't have to mess with any of that, you know, nuanced stuff. But yeah, we definitely wouldn't be that cruel to anyone and actually leave them in there with the games turned on, without a doubt.
especially Jar Jar.
Yeah.
He needs to go away. David, you got Houdini here recently too. Y'all both picked up new games. How's that going? Any issues?
But I moved Outlane Post. I moved it up because it was in the lower position, so it was a little bit too easy.
Fair enough. Didn't think I'd hear that about a Houdini, but fair enough.
Right. So I did that, and I'm still, I haven't gotten to any of a mini wizard mode or anything like that, but just having fun with it. I had a roofer over at my house yesterday, getting a new roof. The joy with that. And he walked in and saw my machines, and he said, "Oh my God, what is this? I haven't seen these types of pinball machines." Yeah, he just went off, turned them on, let him see, and he was kind of blown away at what new pinball machines look like.
Wonder what pinball looked like in his head. EM machines?
Yeah,
probably. Yeah, I've the whenever the rare time we have people over, especially not recently, or I tell people are asking about me and asking about my hobbies, and I mention pinball or whatever. There's such like a wide it's usually depending on how old the person is I'm talking to. There's such a wide range of reaction between complete disinterest or I didn't know they still made those, or oh, I used to play this game back, and they know exactly what game they used to play and stuff like that. So I would say that that's the most common one that I get though whenever I mention it is, oh, I completely forgot about that, and I used to go down to the arcade, my friends would play, and it's always interesting to me for people to find out, yeah, they still make these actually, like somewhat frequently.
They don't cost the $500 to $1,000 that you think they cost.
Yes.
Shannon, I know you've been at Free Play quite a bit recently. How have your pinball exploits been going?
Wait, who did you ask for? Because Shannon is no longer in the chat. I'm not sure what happened, but
well, fine then.
Yeah, she had enough of your nonsense.
It's because I beat her at Iron Maiden yesterday.
Well, I guess I'll ask you, Chris. What have you been doing, pinball-wise, if anything?
Pinball-wise, Iron Maiden in multiple locations.
Makes sense. Is the game of the month?
Yeah. No, I haven't been grinding away at it. I've just been like playing a game here or there.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Black Knight 2000. That's why I'm playing the music, because I've got it stuck in my head.
Makes sense.
Really been enjoying that, having it on the floor at Free Play Richardson.
Plays great, by the way.
Yeah, yeah. And it's got I love games with physical effects and the physicality of the upper playfield in Black Knight 2000, and just just how that game plays. I don't know exactly what to say about it other than I really like the shots. I really like the progression of the table, even though it's a simple table. It's an older table, and of course you've got the ridiculous music and the fact that it's got some of my favorite all-time video game and pinball programmers listed on the credits is pretty sweet.
Pretty legendary table for sure.
Yeah, I actually asked Ed Boon, and I haven't gotten a response yet, to my knowledge, if he considered the Black Knight, because Black Knight has Steve Ritchie's voice. If he considers Black Knight to be in canon or in the Mortal Kombat universe at all, because Steve Ritchie's voice is also Shao Kahn.
I'd be interested to know that. Do they? What did they say that's the same? I guess I didn't know that.
You weak, pathetic fool. Basically everything he says in Sword of Chaos is reminiscent of something Shao Kahn would say.
So did he? Do you think he re-recorded it, or did they just reuse the Mortal Kombat clips?
I think Steve re-recorded his voice every time, because you can tell like the voice has evolved over the years, and like even now like Black Knight voice in Sword of Chaos doesn't sound like Shao Kahn anymore. Basically, like he's aged 20 years
like
since then.
Richie.
Yeah.
All right, fair
enough.
Does
say the same stuff. So in my head, that's like Shao Kahn's backstory.
Yeah, he moved on to do pinball voiceovers.
Yeah.
Are you in some sort of aviary, or do you have like a room of birds next to the pinball room?
Just outside.
Yeah, that's just what we call outside where I live, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. What is that? What is outside? I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. It's something you saw back in 2019, maybe.
Yeah, that's why I tell y'all. That's why I stay on mute a lot, because I'll come out here like we're in front of the shop. That's the reason you'll see me on mute. I'll go off and on mute for that reason.
Hey, speaking of which, last time, well, not last time, but I think the last time we talked about this was 2 or 3 weeks ago. Any news on your stream setup? I know you were excited to get some of that stuff in, and it was back ordered or whatever.
None of that. None of the.
That's a bummer.
None of the cam links that I'm waiting for is shipped. So it went from they're supposed to be back in stock June 16th to no updates. The manufacturer still doesn't have them on their website. I did buy basically some knockoff cam links, but the time that they came in, because I was just like, I'm getting tired of waiting, right? So between the time that they came in and now, it's in a quarter for us. So, which is a murderous time if you're in sales, meaning that I just haven't had time. So pretty much from the beginning of June on, it starts acting like it's, everything's urgent that we do from a work perspective at end of quarter. So unfortunately, they didn't get in time for me to actually spend much time. I'm actually lucky that I had time enough this past weekend just to troubleshoot the episode 1 and get that rolling. So I feel fortunate just because of that. But yeah, so I haven't had time to mess with them yet. I do have a couple knockoffs, but not sure how they work, and hopefully they'll work fine. But I don't have the original ones that I ordered, the Elgatos.
Well, that's a bummer. Let us know when you get them in. I'm excited, especially now that you've got a couple new games and have them all up and running.
Yep.
I gotta be honest. I don't remember what we were gonna talk about this week. Part of
Hot
me
Wheels,
the
baby.
answer was
Hot
Hot
Wheels.
Wheels.
Well, but
Okay, all right. I was right.
we only got like 30 minutes left before we get there, and maybe this means that we end up bumping Hot Wheels. I'd like to hear David's idea about your idea about doing some sort of competition.
Yeah. So
yeah. Let's talk about that.
yeah, let's talk about it. Let's figure out games and all that good stuff. So through the Match Play Events app, we could set this up as a monthly best score type format where it could last a whole month long. You could play, like, say we pick for Arlington, we'll pick Metallica, Firepower, Tron, Walking Dead, and World Cup Soccer.
Mm-hmm.
So you just you take a screenshot of it, submit it through Match Play Events. We'll have to have admins will approve it. That's the thing that sucks.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll rank out and give points based upon your rank on Metallica, Firepower, whatever, and whoever has the highest points will win for Arlington. Think it would be pretty doable. Anything we could do to foster competitive play, why not?
Sure. Not IFPA involved. For the people who that is their main focus, I want to dissuade that notion.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But competitive pinball, if you're looking to get your fix, then this is, to me, it sounds like a pretty good compromise.
Plus, it's like socially distant by nature.
Sure.
Like you go to the machine on your own time, so
yep.
You don't have to worry about like any kind of moral qualms with it.
Right. Maybe I could throw out like $16 and buy someone a T-shirt.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm all for it. I don't know how much
the
extra
downside,
time I have for adminning, but I
figure I could add like 500 people to be admins and they'll do it.
Excellent.
Just pull
the only thing is, like, do we end up having, we'll open it up, you could join in yourself, you could start submitting scores. Are we going to have someone that's going to, just start registering and posting stupid pics to be a jerk? I doubt it, but.
Maybe.
So
if you have admin tools to ban that person, then
yeah,
you're good to go, I suppose.
I find that unlikely, but I'm sure that's a problem that we would be able to squash pretty easily, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't see a lot of people in the community that would do that even as a joke more than once. I mean, so
yeah.
I don't think of anyone else besides Lynn.
Right.
Yeah,
go ahead and preemptively ban Michael Beltran, and we're good.
But Lynn we would be able to good-heartedly poke back at Lynn if he did that.
So I think I picked my games. Are all those games still at Arlington, Chris? Do you know?
Ooh,
I looked
Yes,
on
I was
Pinball.
there. Call off again. I was there Monday
Okay.
night. What?
Metallica, Firepower, Tron, Walking Dead, World Cup Soccer.
Yes, they are.
Okay.
So my question is, and normally we have when we're doing Pinball Monday, for instance.
You play your
Uh,
extra balls on this one, big guy.
well, okay, play extra balls. That's one question answered. Ball gets stuck. What's the protocol? Those are all the things, the little things that we take for granted because we're all together during a normal competition that has to be considered, and stuff like that.
Balls get stuck, man.
I think
We
you'd have to
can't. We can't
restart
have.
basically.
Yeah, we can't have like Andrew Ortega at everyone's beck and call every time there's a simple ball stuck. So
Right.
Well, you can definitely go to the bar or do any of the and I'm sure there'll be a tech on hand. In fact, I 100% know there will be a tech on hand. So if you want to go fetch the tech, you're welcome to. I just feel like this is probably less formal than that.
yeah,
Agreed.
But there are techs on hand at all times normally in free play, even more so now because the techs end up being the people who go around washing all the consoles hourly. So you'll see them they'll be busy. They'll be busy washing joysticks and stuff.
okay.
But yeah, there should be a tech. Marcos is always there in Denton. Yeah, there's always somebody because there has to be.
So Denton games, we have to have Denton Heat because that's
Sure.
Denton.
Hmm.
The other games I know that are there: Creature, ACDC, Attack from Mars. What's another one to throw in? There's Rocky and Bullwinkle, but there's no way in hell I'm going to throw that in.
It takes a while.
I haven't been there since all this happened, so I don't know what else is there.
I've been there, but it all blends together because I've been to all the free plays.
Is Shadow still there?
I think
Shadow
so.
is, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, Shadow.
Yeah, it feels rather arbitrary, whatever we want it to be.
Sure,
we want it to be,
as long as
go
it's
for it.
in functional shape and whatever. This is very casual. It's not a big,
Yeah.
no points on the line, nothing like that.
Mhm.
So, when are you thinking about getting this going, David?
We'll do it July month for the month.
Okay. And what, 4 weeks or?
Whole month.
Should we
Okay.
do Fort Worth as well
Sure.
Why not?
for certain TCU students' sake?
The games that I saw on the pinball map that I like would be TNA,
Which is
Star Trek,
Yep.
Fishtails,
They've got Maiden up there too.
They do have Maiden, yeah. They have Medieval
No, but
Madness.
They have a
Medieval
new
Madness.
Star Wars,
Shoot,
or at least it was
Star,
new when
Star Wars,
when
Medieval
Soft
Madness,
opened.
Pirates of the Caribbean. Yep.
Yep, Pirates is there, yeah.
They've got a pretty good selection there for you to choose from. So
Yeah, I would say it's second only to Arlington. I mean, it is second only to
sure.
Arlington
Oh,
as far as
definitely, yeah.
pinball selection.
No
All
doubt.
right. TNA, Fishtails, Star Trek, Medieval Madness, and Pirates.
Sounds cool.
Richardson. Someone want to give me games to play in Richardson
5
since I
of
have
them?
no.
That's a lot.
Jurassic Park,
Jurassic. Yeah, you got to go
Black
Jurassic.
Knight.
Yep, Black Knight 2000.
Um,
TNA
Funhouse is there.
That's
Funhouse
true.
is there.
TNA is there.
TNA is there. What else is there? What's Theater Magic is there?
They put Monster Bash there.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, Monster Bash is there. Theater Magic's there too.
Which one? Monster Bash or Theater of Magic?
I would say Monster Bash in my opinion, but I'll leave that
All right.
up for debate.
Yeah, I'd probably go Monster Bash.
Oh yeah, Champ Pub. Palmer's right.
Ooh. It's always good to throw in an old game like Champions Pub. So I'll
That one
put
always
that
thrills
in.
me with the
Fun.
physical effects.
The only caution I'd make there is some of those games and the survivability, if they're going to get a lot of focus for the month, is also a
Yes.
consideration.
Magnets jumping on Champions Pub, for
Yes.
instance.
Seems
Right.
ripe for disaster, but
So we'll leave Funhouse.
Held up when I played it last Friday.
Mm-hmm. Man, I want to be at Austin's house. Sorry, guys.
Yeah,
It sounds
yeah.
so nice.
Yeah, that's why I need to go back on mute. So I just don't want y'all to think that I'm being inattentive. I'll go off and on mute pretty fast.
Yeah, but
It's not a big deal.
Makes
It's
me
just
want to be there.
it's just I am guilty of talking for a couple minutes straight and then be like, oh wow, nobody heard a word I just said because I was on mute. So
Yeah.
as long as you're good at that.
I'm the no, I go off and on mute like if I hit my mute button off and on less than 100 times in a day, I'd be surprised.
You're
Because
pro.
I'm so many meetings. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I'm not. So you're pro. Yeah. I'm not good at it.
Shannon's
Those that
actually
go to
back
the
with us
meetings
if we
that-
want to ask her
Yeah,
about
we
free
do have
play.
Shannon.
They have her check in.
What's up?
What have you been up to? You've actually been at free play quite a bit. So what have your pinball excursions been like?
So I've focused.
What was that?
You're cutting in and out.
We gotta get her out of Louisiana.
was probably
SMH. Oh no.
I'll let the birds entertain you in the background while we're trying to reel her in.
All right, let's ask the birds what type of pinball games they've been playing.
Chirp chirp.
I don't know if you translated that or not.
Any
Mm.
bird-themed pinballs? Nothing
Sure there
coming to
are.
mind. I'm sure there's a bird featured prominently in something.
Sure, I just can't think of what.
It's lost me.
We did lose her again.
Yep.
Oh well.
Let's see.
So we'll get that set up, and I'll put some promotion stuff out there so people can see it. And
Yeah. Is it So it's points based. Would there be? Is there? I know it's all for fun and all casual. Is there any reason to like travel to all the locations? Because me and Austin
yeah,
have
yeah,
an
we need to
advantage
make
there.
that. Yeah, we want to make that abundantly clear, right? That it is at each location. They're separate incidents or separate little tournaments.
Okay.
You could play at multiple locations, but each location is their own separate monthly tournament.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
And so is this just like you basically just you submit one score for each game, or you just play and you submit your highest score, or
It would be better if you play and submit your highest score.
so you
Like,
submit
so-
one score, and if you
Well,
if
you
you get a
could.
better one after that, then you're out of luck.
No. You could submit multiple scores.
Okay.
But the way that I'm going to do it is I'm going to play TNA. I'm going to take a picture of my good score. I'm going to continue playing. I'm going to beat that. I'll take another picture. And then I'm going to submit that. Technically, you could take a picture, submit it, take another picture, submit it. It's just easier if you take a picture and then at the end of the day, or at the end of the night, you submit.
Right, you just pick your best one. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
From an admin perspective, we definitely would prefer, like, hey, make it easy on us.
Mhm.
Don't submit 20 games of
Right.
TNA in a row. Take your pictures, delete them from your phone, and then submit your best score at the end.
Makes sense to me.
Let's see.
You could win
Too
a free
much.
play.
How have things been going in terms of getting reacclimated to the new normal for you, Chris, as a free play employee?
Good. So it's really good to see people again. Like I can't tell you how nice that is. Nothing is normal, but I don't have to tell you guys that nothing is normal this day and age.
Right.
Try that again. I was gonna try and set up some more music so I don't feel totally weird about it.
Yeah, you do a good job, Chris, of talking about mental health awareness and being calm and taking things into perspective. And, it's important to talk about those things, especially as I'll put you in the category of, middle aged males, right?
Hmm.
It's like mental health is something that's really, really real.
So very at the forefront of things right now too. Everybody's super stressed, like as stressed as they've ever been in their life right now. Everybody collectively together right now, and like that shows itself in so many ways. But for me, like seeing my friends has been a joy. Um, Being able to hear the familiar sounds of the arcade has been comforting. Um, there are very, very much challenges still, and um, you know, not seeing a ton of people at all times at the arcade is comforting in a way because it's we can't be gathering a ton of people these days, and then it's weird in another way because this is free play. It should be. I've seen so many pack nights at free play, so it's a really the always both ways in my mind, and I don't know how to connect those two together right now. And then I have a cat. There's that.
Cat's very important.
Mm-hmm. Have you been back, Brennan, since it's been open?
Yeah, I was there that first Friday. I haven't been since, but I was there that first Friday y'all opened, I guess what was that, a couple weeks ago?
Yes.
And I mean it once I got used to just knowing that I have a mask on and everybody else has a mask on, it was just like normal free play really.
Yeah, the
Um
mask the mask isn't for me personally, the mask isn't much of an issue. I really like the lightweight free play like silk masks that they
yeah, I
have.
gotta get that because I had a real heavy like cloth one and it was fogging up my
Yeah,
glasses.
no, this
That was the
is
only that was the only pain for me is just the fogging of the glasses. 'Cause I don't mind wearing the mask, obviously, or I wouldn't have gone.
mhm.
But no, it was so good. Even though you can't give them a hug and
That's weird, yes.
hang out like you would normally. It was so good to see like all these familiar faces, including, by the way, familiar faces who I've never said a word to, or they may not even know my name. But just like people, I'm like, I know you. Like you're a free play person. You're part of this like group.
Yeah.
It was just really nice having some sense of normalcy in a time where the past 4 months have been anything but. So
I've missed that
it
bond
was
so
great.
much, like so very much. Like what binds somebody like, David together with, young Jonathan Kim or whatever, who doesn't even play pinball, right? Like
Hmm.
this crossing of the streams of cool people. I know Shannon talked about throughout the whole stay at home how she never really was that tight with the Denton Finance Clan, the Denton Fighting Game players who also, will troll away on Killer Queen. Um, how they're really cool people. Like a lot of us are really cool people, and just seeing people interact again, and get to know each other again, and anew in some cases. That is what makes my heart like flutter as far as my job. Like I like the games, but I like the people even more.
That was definitely the best part. It's
Hmm.
like I'm lucky enough to have a pinball machine in my apartment. I can play pinball. That was not really the goal of our outing. It was just to be in free play and
Hmm.
just and just have a beer and play a game with people and just be around people that I'm familiar with and people who love being in the arcade and love playing these games. And it was just in that aspect it was such a breath of fresh air even though I was breathing through a mask.
Yeah, it's. I'll say this as a free play employee because you asked me as a free play employee. Like it's the mask part is the biggest challenge for us right now as employees because it's become for some reason a political issue.
Yeah.
And it's not an issue that we have a there's no there's no option to sit this out. You either have masks or you don't have masks. Either way, you're on one of the ends of the spectrum and everybody's hating on you for whatever reason. We have masks. We believe in them. And it's Dallas County. Like you have to do it in Dallas County at this point.
It's now, yeah, it's no longer a free play thing. It's
Right,
a
but
county
it
thing.
was like I don't want to sugarcoat it. We believe in this, and we've
No,
tried it from
no,
the get-go.
absolutely.
Yeah,
But that first week it was a free play thing, and now it's like, all right, here's the deal. You got to wear these. Like,
right.
this is no longer just a business thing. It's an everybody thing. Got to put it on. I
Yes.
mean, have you had have a lot of pushback on that? I mean, I'm not talking about just social media because it's so easy
Yeah,
to give your
sort of.
opinion.
Yes. So there has been very few like defiant, angry,
Hmm.
throwing fits, things like that. Um, but there's a challenge every single day with people are unfamiliar with masks. They're learning about it as they walk in the door on some occasions. Now, the masks are provided by Free Play if you don't have
Uh-huh.
one, so don't let that stop you. But like, you know, informing customers, reminding customers, making sure that they know that we're serious because it is serious. Um, like some people, like I've definitely seen and like brought it to attention of different employees of like people wearing the masks in ways that are not effective. um
Saw a few of those when I was there that first night. A lot of
right,
people who
and
had it
it's
on like down their neck, and I was like, oh, okay, it's not
yeah,
really doing anything.
that's something that we're constantly having to deal with and help
Right.
people through and remind them on occasion, and that's difficult for the free play employees. So if you see something that makes you legitimately like uncomfortable, go up to one of the bartenders and let them know, because we are doing something about this stuff, right? So we don't want you to feel uncomfortable. Um, don't want you to feel also like you're tattling on people. Like, this is an extraordinary circumstance, um, but also keep in mind that we're doing our best, our very very best. Um, so while I've definitely seen, I had a meeting about it, and I called him chin strap dude, the guy who brings
Yes,
his
I
mask down on
saw
his chin.
a few chin strap dudes that first night. And
Right.
that's what really stuck out to me is, everybody's having to do things that really aren't their job.
Hmm.
It is not, like ideally it's not the bartender's job to be mask police. It's not the tech's job to be sanitation officer, but that's what stuck out to me is how everybody's kind of pulling the same direction and is willing to go that extra mile to make sure that number one, everybody's as safe as they can be, and number two, free play can operate and open in the most streamlined, healthy, sensible, and safe way as
Hmm.
possible. And so that's, I mean, I just don't know how else it could be done.
Yeah, bear with us, communicate with the employees, because it's not like this is not a situation where we're like, hey, masks are required, and everybody goes free for all when they walk inside the door. No, we're
Right.
following up, we're doing everything that we can, but also we understand that like some people like it's all over the spectrum, man. Some people get it. Some people are. I've seen people like wear it like this, right? Because they're trying to breathe and like they're not comfortable
Uh-huh.
with it over their nose, but it makes it entirely ineffective. And it's just like communicating like this is the proper way to deal it. I actually very 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 much like, and I believe we're ordering more of those silk masks.
I hope so.
One of the
I
things that
gotta
I
get
like
one.
about them in particular is they look really cool when you wear them the right way. You look like a ninja. It's a Japanese style mask. It covers your nose and everything. And if you wear it like this, then you look dumb. so
Yes.
so those are
And
those are really nice.
that's what they need to print is ones that where you wear it below your nose, it makes you have like a stupid mouth or something. I don't know. It makes you look dumb.
I mean, it does because we all kind of know what you look like, what the guy looks like in the
Yeah.
cutscene of Ninja Gaiden or something like that.
You look like a falcon or something. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. So those are really really good, and beyond that, every day's a new challenge. But I am so thankful that we're in this era where we can actually be in the arcade again. I can play pinball again. And I can play a game of Iron Maiden with Shannon again, like I did yesterday. And it's not me trapped in this room for forever.
I am thankful for that. I don't. I to be honest, that is the part that would have made me lose my absolute sanity. So I don't know how you did that. I don't know how you're still doing it, to be honest. But bravo. I'm glad that you're freed from your prison too.
I do like um, what we're doing. Like I like the Pinballers. I'm all about this. I'm not all about's a little extreme, but like this show does mean something to me. Getting everybody together and talking pinball in front of people to where they can learn more about pinball and the fact that like you guys exist, guys collectively. Shannon, not quite a guy, but like this is a community that's just as vibrant as the fighting game community that I care about just as much as any other community, and getting to highlight that is important to me.
I will note I'm appreciative of the unfortunately smaller but understandably smaller crowds, as I was able to run the table for a little while on Third Strike. So that's something I would not be able to do on a normal Friday night. Pulled it off.
Nice.
Proud of myself.
Nice.
Moved on a champion with Hugo, and that was it.
Another Hugo player. I also have had a long set of Third Strike every day. I've gone to free play since the beginning. So I feel you there. I feel you there.
It's been nice. It's been nice. And then somebody who knew what they were doing sat down, and suddenly I decided I was gonna go back to pinball.
Right. Right now it's kind of like the strange secret that yes, free play's back open, but it's not the free play that you remember where it's super crowded or anything. It's just that weekday experience that was so nice where you can stretch out and like you don't really have to think too awful much about like the whole social distance thing because it's not super crowded for reasons that we all understand. So
right, for good reasons.
And then I don't want to say like, hey, it's not crowded, so everybody pile in and make it uncrowded. Like it's kind of where it needs to be, and that's the tack that the ownership is taking with us as well. Is like we're right where we need to be. We're definitely still losing money, but we're losing less money. But also we're maintaining some degree of safety for the employees, and we have employees, so they're not hurting as much. So
that's my favorite part. So many of my friends, the people I talk about in the free play community are not just people who are patrons, they're people who work there, and it's so nice to see them, even though it might be, reduced hours or less hours or whatever. I don't know what's going on the inside. It's just so good to see them working again and, just feeling a little bit more comfortable, and it's just nice to see everybody behind the counter, behind the desk, working on a machine, whatever it may be.
Yeah, there's few things I've seen like when I see Andrew Ortega working on a pinball machine, that's a man who is doing what he wants to do. Like that's what he wants to do. Period. Like of course that's his job, but like he wants that to be his job. He wants to fix a pinball machine. I'm so thankful that somebody like that exists, and I just want to see him like with his tools and clearing jams and talking about, this table or that table, because I can see the passion in his eye, and that's surrounding myself with passionate people is sort of one of my life missions.
I like that.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, having the employees back, it means a lot. For everybody who's not there, I miss you. So we stick with it.
Fair enough.
So do we hit Hot Wheels next week?
I'm cool with it because, to be honest, I did little to no homework as I was involved in a very competitive and passionate League of Legends game before this. So I did not. It was a forfeit. No, we did not win, but that's why I was able to be here somewhat on time. So it's all right. You make sacrifices. I've not watched it. Austin, I know you watched the Hot Wheels review and you had some pretty positive thoughts about it. So I'll let you package those and maybe a little teaser here before 7:30 hits. But yeah, I do want to talk about that at some point.
Yeah, for sure. It's again, I think it's the surprise title of the year. I really do think that, and I think when we talk about some of the members of the community that certainly would be fans of the game, right? Jason Palmer, Cross Kirchmeyer, certainly two names that come to mind. I'm telling you, it's beyond that. This is it's a pinball player's game. It's approachable. It's approachable. They actually put it in the house with family who had several children that were 10-year-old and under to make sure it was both approachable and yet deep enough that a pro skilled player would enjoy it. And they pulled it off so well. and I'm so shocked at how well they've integrated the theme to the overall play. It is a very positive shock, very positive surprise. I really do think this is going to be one of the surprise tables for the year in terms of when everyone looks back and says, wow, what was that? What was that table that, before now I would have said Rick and Morty, candidly. I think it could be even a bigger game than Rick and Morty in terms of love in the pinball community.
I hope so, because that's, so they have 3 games out right now: Houdini, Oktoberfest, and Hot Wheels. I like Houdini. It seems hard. It's not readily available to play, so a lot of people haven't played it. It's hard to have an opinion. Oktoberfest, I've actually feel like I've heard not great things about. I played that at the most recent pinball festival. Wasn't really blown away, but
that's
I've
how
heard
I
nothing
felt
but
about
good things about Hot
Oktoberfest.
Wheels.
Like I haven't been blown away by it, but I haven't hated it either. Like
I didn't spend enough
just a
time,
game. Yeah.
Yeah, it was fine.
Now Houdini,
And I'm sure
Dave's
code
game
updates.
Houdini
Stuff.
enjoyed quite a bit when I played it.
Yes, agreed. So this is a company that I don't have any opinion about really one way or another. So that's why I'm a bit excited to dig into this and to see what they're up to, because I'm not really familiar with them, to be honest.
Really, really cool stuff. That's why I don't want to spoil too much, but it's really cool stuff. Theme integration with the shaker and the animations on the screen are, I would say, deeper and more tightly integrated than any pinball I've seen produced yet.
I will say I looked into this part specifically somewhat recently, and they seem to be pretty fairly priced.
They are, for what you're getting, I think they are very fairly priced. Dare I say, compared to, I don't know, the heavy metal, they're a steal. So the heavy metal pinball, we talked about that briefly, I think, $7,999 because Incendium wanted Stern to produce it, and they wanted it at a certain price point, and it's basically a repackaged $4,500 Star Wars game, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you compare something like that with what you're getting with Hot Wheels, I mean, yeah, it's almost insulting, right? If you're talking about somebody who would love to own a pin, to say that a 6,000, ish price point is fairly priced, right? But you get a shaker motor and everything with the first 500 that roll off the line. But compared to everything else you've got out there in terms of options, I think it's very fairly priced. I mean, it's
comparatively speaking, yes, of course.
Comparatively speaking, yeah. I mean, it's about a $1,500 less than heavy metal, and I think that one's probably overpriced by about $3,000.
Yeah, I'd agree.
It's about $1,500 cheaper than Rick and Morty, and it's about $1,500 cheaper than any Stern Premium that's on the market, roughly.
Right. I mean, a good comparison is, would you buy a Jurassic Park Premium or a Hot Wheels, which has all the bells and whistles on the standard version?
Yeah, it's a very, very fair comparison, right? And then the other thing is, that it's going to be with a great likelihood that you'll be able to buy Jurassic Park not only this year but next. You may not be able to buy Hot Wheels next year, right? Depending on the demand. Not sure what their production capacity is, but certainly less than Stern's. So that honestly, that's the reason why I gravitated towards getting Alice Cooper, and it's the same reason why when Rick and Morty went for sale, we took the gamble and bought it. I think it's kind of a similar situation here. Now, unlike some of those other firms, right? They haven't called a specific production limit, but we know for a fact that the first 500 are getting free shaker motors. That's usually a couple $100, right? So nice to get in on that if you want to be part of that first 500. I really do think that, and there was one at Fun here in Mesquite, and I think it sold like the first day or two, and they lamented seeing it go. I don't think that's a sales pitch. I certainly have nothing to gain by pitching it. I really was blown away by the reveal that just how good the machine is.
Yeah, it could have one of those like Pirates of the Caribbean impacts where the game was limited in its production and it was in such demand and the price appreciated. You haven't seen that in too many pins, but things are coming to, and I'm not giving any financial advice, of course. I would never do that. But with the way that the market is right now, where there's a limit to number of being able to produce and all that, it's like, yeah, it could be a scarce, valuable machine.
Yeah, and I think they were smart in the way they held up production really until they could come back, because they had it ready to launch and do the reveal at Texas Pinball Festival. I know we touched on that, but they decided not to, and lo and behold, all this hit, right? So I think they were smart in doing that. So now they didn't have a lot of stock on their hand either that they perhaps couldn't have shipped. They actually spent the money on marketing that they would have spent during the COVID-19. So here's maybe a little bit more information I wanted to share, but they spent some of that marketing money on doing things like putting in the shaker and including that. They also did some mods to the game. So they did some smart stuff. They did some stuff that you would like to think that other manufacturers in the same position might have done, that would really bring it back to the consumer that's going to buy it anyways, which I think is really cool.
I haven't watched the reveal myself, but if you have any questions, I know a guy and I can get some answers. If you have any questions in regards to that machine and the production of it.
Like Hot Wheels?
Yeah.
Should we have him on?
Maybe. Yeah.
If you can arrange that, then just float it out there. No big deal. If not, we make our own way no matter what. I understand we have a pretty hard out here at 7:30, so.
It's not a super hard out. We get at 8 o'clock. Whenever the producer chimes in and starts setting up, that's sort of our cue that we have to go.
Gotcha.
But until then, there's a amorphous time here in the middle where it's a mix or whatever.
Cool. All right.
I've heard from Ian. He's the producer today that he's running a little late, so
okay,
we actually
no worries.
have a luxury.
Well, in that case, yeah, that would be we've heard from Killer Queen. You would know his name, Chris.
Yeah,
what was
Nikita.
Nikita, that was right.
He's actually been a panelist on the live match game, which is up next. And
awesome.
Andy's appeared on our stream talking about Killer Queen and Absolute the Blood Queen. We've had their game designer on several times. We have multiple guests from the Griffin Aerotech, the creators of Sky Cursor and the upcoming House of the Gun Dead game, which I'm still super excited about. We had, man, it goes on and on. So yeah, we definitely had guests on the shows before, so it's
okay.
It's all cool. We just roll someone on the Discord.
Yeah, if you've got the inside track, I mean, that'd be awesome, because I really do think it's a sweet game.
All right.
Yeah. That's always a good part, is if we like the game. It would be awkward if we were getting the heavy metal people on.
Yes, that's a plus, is liking the game.
Yeah, that you don't want to open up the question with why did you do this. This will not be one of those discussions with Hot Wheels.
My question is, why has nobody thought of this? This seems brilliant.
It really is. I mean, again, I don't want to reel too much. When you look at the reveal, and if anyone wants to go out there and prep for the discussion next week, the reveal we're talking about is the one they did with Jack Danger. You can look at the reveal on Twitch if you like that platform. He also publishes it to YouTube, so just search for in either platform, Dead Flip, and then search for Dead Flip Hot Wheels if you're on YouTube, and you'll get the hit there. It's about an hour and 58 minutes. Certainly don't have to listen to the whole thing. They had some. I listened to it. I was waiting for it to kick off. They were delayed about 30 minutes. You heard him talking about that. They had internet issues. They wound up streaming it off of Jack's phone. So you hear some of that. You'll hear a little bit of audio issue in the beginning, but they do a really good job of showing the gameplay, talking through it. And if you don't come away liking the table and you like pinball, I would really be surprised.
And I'm not a car guy. I was never super into Hot Wheels. I certainly had my fair share of them, but was never really into them in terms of the actual car aspect of it. It was just kind of a toy to me. That being said, the cabinet itself looks gorgeous. I love the curved head of the table. That in itself is pretty cool. I don't know why everybody's just sticks with a standard like square rectangle looking thing. It's got a nice big screen. The animations looked cool from the short clips that I saw. It comes with a shaker, which to me is that's what Stern milks when it comes to premiums, is little add-ons like that, and they're throwing that in with the standard, and that's cool. I'm looking forward to talking about this more, and to that extent, I'm going to try to save it a little bit. I don't want to milk it too
Yeah.
much, before we
Hey,
get
Alright.
there. But
I
looks really
will
cool.
say that I had no ties to the IP either, right? The intellectual property on the Hot Wheels game, it did not speak to me candidly. It's not to say that I've never been a child and never played with Hot Wheels, but I'm not a collector. I mean, like, I think Jason Palmer still collects them. So people like that, I just think, wow, that to them is like Iron Maiden to me, right? So I
Sure.
totally get someone at me having a tie-in. I think that's what speaks to me even more. The fact that I don't necessarily have a love for the IP, and I still think it's an awesome table. And I've talked about how tied in I feel about Rick and Morty. That was the main reason I love that title so much. I dare I say this might be better than Rick and Morty, and I'm telling you right now, that's a pretty big statement. Someone who's prepaid for a Rick and Morty, you know what I mean?
Right.
That's a pretty big statement. So you can take that again for what it's worth.
I like how the appeal here is also sort of to the Jason Palmer, who is here in the chat, but also
Do they have a track? Do they have a track? I
to
gotta know.
kids.
Does the Hot Wheel go around the track like they did when I was a kid?
So here's the thing, and again, we won't get to. Well, I don't want to reveal all the details. If you go back to that conversation I had about the children, they put it in the households with children who were 10 and under because they wanted playability factor for that approachable audience who's going to get up there. I'll give this one element to you. You can put your own Hot Wheels cars on it. It's intended to do that. So if you want to personalize it without modding it, they've actually
That is cool.
They give stickers in the game so that they give you 5 stickers that come with the game so that you can literally pull the ones that are off there, mount it on stickers, and put your own cars in it. And I won't go any more into it than that, but let's just talk about that as a cool factor. Who else can you think of has done anything like that where you can intentionally come in and mod the game without paying a small fee or maybe a big fee, depending on what you're talking about, and you can kind of customize it, especially for like a kid that might be interested in it, that just wants to come up and play and have that association with it to make it their own. And it's something that you can do without additional cost, and it's something you can do without a lot of additional labor.
Hear me out. Lego pinball.
Lego pinball.
Like,
there you
this
go.
is what that reminds me of is, okay, I'm thinking of classic iconic toys. We're doing Hot Wheels. You can put your own cars in there. Okay. How about a Lego thing? You know what I mean? You stick your own little Lego dudes or whatever. I don't know. We're scratching the surface.
Yep.
All right, guys, I got to drop off. I will
Thanks,
see
David.
if I can get a special guest on for next week.
Sounds good. Later,
Cool.
David.
See you next Thursday at 6:30. And give me some links for the upcoming like match play stuff so that
Yep.
I can help distribute it, and we'll have the opening of the show be about that.
Okay.
Awesome. Thanks, David. Danny, you got any pinball stories for us?
He
Danny's
went
gone.
back to general. Yep.
He's quickly bored with this pinball talk.
Yeah. I don't blame him.
He did have a pinball question or a pinball fill in the blank for a previous the live matching game episode.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm. I'm confirming with. So you are now backup contestant for next week if you don't end up being one this week, but
Whatever works.
yeah, trying to get it straight with the current contestants if they're showing up or not, which is always
We have
white-knuckle.
quite the gathering going on the general channel. So
that's the thing that's so difficult about this show. And we're talking about now the live matching game, which is coming up at 8:00. So stay tuned. But there's 6 panelists. There's a host. There's 2 to 4 contestants. There are 1 to 2 producers, and all of us have to be coordinated on the same page in the same place at the same time. It's quite the undertaking, even though it's just this one camera staring intently at me, making me feel awkward.
yeah, that's not a seat I'd want to be in, but I appreciate you being in it.
Someone's got to sit here.
Yeah, someone's got to sit there.
I've offered it to Danny many times, including today.
One of these days.
Mhm.
One of these days. I'm sure he's giving a great pep talk in there, though.
He's it's been an interesting experience. Austin, have you ever played the You Don't Know Jack or Jackbox games?
I played them because we were talking to Matt out in Fort Worth when y'all were still doing the orders to go, but you didn't have the arcade open yet. I think it was the week before the arcade actually opened, so June 5th time frame, I think.
Mm-hmm.
June 5th, June 6th. And he's like, Chris is here. It's 8 o'clock. He wants me to turn on Jackbox. So it was literally me, Matt, Tracy up there doing Jackbox on the rooftop in Fort Worth because Matt was like, Chris wants the queue full. So I think you might have had 8 people.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the maximum it can have, right? Something like that.
Depending on the game, yes.
Yeah, so I think we played one full game, and it lasted quite a long time. First time I'd ever played it, had no idea what was going on. Thought it was pretty cool, kind of like that next generation bar game, if you will. You know, being able to pull people in randomly. So that was my first and only experience, and yeah, I liked it. Thought it was cool.
Brendan, do you ever play You Don't Know Jack from back in the day?
Yeah, the actual like original You Don't Know Jack game. I remember going over to a family friend's house specifically because my parents and our family friends were playing that. Now Jackbox, I play semi regularly, maybe once a month or so with some friends. Recently over Discord, but usually in person. We put it on the Fire Stick or whatever. But yeah, no, I'm familiar with the Jackbox, but not necessarily the You Don't Know Jack.
Yeah, that's why I asked Austin because You Don't Know Jack started as a Windows 3.1 game, and having one of the original hosts of You Don't Know Jack on the live matching game, I'm still losing my mind. That was like 3 weeks ago.
Well,
So
that's hype.
it really is. Like, you don't expect to end up talking to somebody who's not real. Like that they're just like a fantasy character.
Yes.
And
it's
so very niche. I'm a little kid playing on Windows 3.1 as a game with Cookie Masterson, who doesn't exist. A game that like
okay,
is not
Cookie,
not a AAA.
That is Fibbage.
Fibbage and You Don't Know Jack host, and also old timey You Don't Know Jack host as well. And the voice of Cookie Masterson is Tom Gottlieb, and he's his brother. I think it's Harry Gottlieb. Created You Don't Know Jack. They're part of the formation of it. So
that is cool.
It is, and it's just like that's his voice. It's
it's a little trippy. It's like talking to Alexa.
Yes. And if you know Nicole, Nicole is also she travels around the country doing her podcasting. She's
I do see her in the general down there.
Yes, she's one of our regular panelists right now. Let me just drag her and see if she's because you won't believe her voice. It's so ridiculously over the top, like talking to Alexa or Siri. Hey Nicole, are you there?
Hello.
Hey, we were just talking about you, so I figured I'd drag you up and say hi. So you're from the Northeast? Do you mind saying hi to us?
What?
Do you mind saying hi to us for a little bit? We're just killing time for waiting on Ian.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I was like, wait, but I said hi. I'm so confused.
Nah. Yeah, so we were just talking about like the live matching game and just like the surreal nature of having talked to Tom Gottlieb of You Don't Know Jack, Cookie.
That was so great.
Right, and also you like you have your own reasons for being famous and just touring around the country, podcasting live. You did that live on stage? Is that right?
Yeah. I've been on 3 U.S. tours, and it was such an amazing experience.
What's the name of your podcast?
Sleep podcast. It's a horror anthology.
The No Sleep podcast, right? Yeah. So, what can you tell me? Since we're killing time anyway, can you tell me what is that like touring the country? Do you like get a bus, like a old band thing or something?
So we rented a Sprinter van, and we traveled around between city and city, and it would basically be, we'd stop in a city, we'd get to our Airbnb, and then go to the venue, set up, do sound check, which was a whole thing, and then do the show. The show usually ran about an hour and a half to 2 hours. Then we would do a meet and greet, so that took a while. And when all is said and done, we'd finally get back to the B&B, go to bed, wake up, and drive to the next city.
That's the authentic indie band experience there. Congratulations.
Oh, it was so fun. I miss it so much.
When was the last time you went?
I just actually finished one in November, October.
So conceivably, it could be happening again whenever travel can happen
Yes.
again. Cool.
Yeah, we're not going to do one this year for obvious reasons.
yeah.
We're not even gonna. We considered. Well, we had wanted to do maybe one in October for our Canada Halloween show, but we're not going to do that this year either. We'll probably just do something online. But hopefully next year. It's so much fun. We always have one of the guys comes over from the UK, and he is just a delight and a joy to be around.
What's the fan reception like when you're on the road with that?
It's amazing. Our shows are usually sold out.
That's great to hear.
It's wild. It's actually wild to me. We got to play Estes Park, which was phenomenal. That is where the hotel that Stephen King came up with The Shining is at.
Nice. Yeah, I've been to some live podcast tapings before, and it's usually me, the hardcore podcast nerd, and like 5 other people who kind of fall into that vein, and a bunch of confused bar patrons. So
Nope. We did many a sold out show. Our fans are absolutely amazing. The meet and greets are one of my favorite things because just getting to interact with people who love something that I do, everyone on the podcast is super passionate about it, and it's our dream. I mean, 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, if you told me, hey, you're going to go on tour for the thing that you absolutely love doing, I would have said you were a liar. So to meet people that enjoy the things that we love to put out was just, it's such an amazing experience. And we've got to sign some really weird things.
oh my goodness. What's the weirdest thing you've signed? You opened that can.
Okay,
what's the weirdest thing you can comfortably say that you signed? Does it need to be that traumatic?
We signed a creepy knife.
Nice.
What made it creepy?
I mean, it was a knife.
Fair
I'm
enough.
pretty sure we signed an axe.
Oh my god!
Right?
Nice.
We did sign I won't go into exactly what it was, but something that was custom made. That's not a kid-friendly item. They worked at a factory that made these things, and we signed that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
This might have been covered before. I have not talked to you yet specifically. Did you do any sort of voice work before the No Sleep podcast?
So before No Sleep, so kind of. I did something that's on YouTube that I will never ever reveal what it is. It has, last I checked, it has over 1 million views. But I was god awful. Like, it was my first thing I'd ever done. I can recognize that I was awful. But it got me into wanting to do more. But it was so bad. I'm gonna look it up and see if it still gets views.
It did. That question you had, Brennan, is like literally the question that, like, so we have 6 celebrity panelists, right?
Right.
Or panelists, quasi celebrities. This idiot has to be sitting in a chair, so I end up being one of them. But like, inevitably, that's always the question. Is like, Nicole, what's your other broadcast? Like, you can tell all these, like, because it was like 2 weeks ago, we had a Emmy-winning producer from LA, and he's like, do you have other voice acting gigs? Like, they're all fishing for Nicole's number so that they can get her involved in their.
I wish
their
they would
project.
fish for my number to get me involved. I love doing
That's
so
that's what they're doing. I know that's what they're doing.
That embarrassing video, by the way, has 6,103,057 views, and it is to date the most embarrassing, awful voice work I've ever done in my entire life. Also, the first one, I mean, it was back in 2011, right? So it was 9 years ago, but at least it got me wanting to do more, I guess.
Gotta start somewhere.
If you start with
6 million views is a pretty good place to start.
It's so bad. Like, and when it first came out, I would scroll the comments, and some people were really nice, and some people were really really mean, and that almost discouraged me. And in fact, with No Sleep, it's funny because I heard the podcast, and I thought, man, I'd love to do something with them. And I found the website, and at the time there was a section that said volunteers, and I pulled it up and I looked at it and I closed the page and said, there's no way they would ever accept me. And then a couple months later, I just kept coming back to it. I was like, why not? Right? Like, the worst that can happen is he can say no, and I'll cry for hours probably. And he didn't. He said yes, and so here we are today.
Are you? Do you have like an operatic background or anything that would lead itself to like, hey, you're a professional voice actress?
Nope. I mean, I always just loved doing things with my voice, which is funny because I hated talking publicly, right? But monologues, when I did a little bit of acting class in college, and my favorite part was doing the acting monologues.
Yeah.
So that was great. I did do choir and ensemble, so that was fun, but never anything more than that.
Yeah, you're the first person I can ever recall talking to, and of course, you're mostly a disembodied voice for us, unless you're murdering us all at Lion King. It's quite obvious that like you have the voice of somebody who needs to be like in voice acting, and that's why like every producer we ever have on is like trying to get your number. But I've heard it before, but I've never heard it like you have like the golden voice, whereas I've heard like somebody who has a voice that like it sounds like a child. I don't know if you've encountered this. We have a lot of voice actors here in the Dallas area because Funimation.
I considered at one point trying to, I think there's a thing you can do where they let you know when open auditions are. And I'm pretty sure I sent that email, but that was years ago. But that was one of the places I thought about if I ever moved to would be Texas because of Funimation, or there's also some places in Toronto. LA, of course, is the big one.
Right.
When I spoke to my coworker on No Sleep, is Mick Wingert, and Mick Wingert is amazing. He does the voice of Poe in the Kung Fu Panda games, so the ones that Jack Black doesn't do, Mick Wingert does.
Gotcha.
I was speaking to him, and he's like, "Yeah, LA is really the place to be," or Dallas.
Right. Yeah. And now you you've met multiple people in Funimation through this show, or
didn't even know that.
Yes, yeah. Ian worked there for like a decade. He does.
Oh, that's crazy.
He doesn't now, but Andy does. Just many. Like it's we had Barney on the on accident as a panelist. It just
oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've always I still kind of hope and cling to the dream that one day I'll get to do more. But I love doing No Sleep. I love all the projects I've been involved in. They're just, it's great to do something that you love to do for people who love what you do. It's just a really great feeling.
I can't imagine like you not getting work in the field. It just, you have the voice, so of course it's just the clearest thing ever. So yeah, I didn't lie, Brennan.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
You point proven.
Right. Yeah. It's absurd. It's always distracting.
I always joke about coming in here and like talking completely different just to throw everyone off. But I don't think I'd be able to keep it up for the entire time without losing it.
It's too exhausting to try and be somebody you're not. Like, your voice is your voice.
Yeah.
It just happens to be that way.
We used to sometimes stream games, and they'd go on for hours where we would be doing different voices, which I love to do. But after a while, I'm like, what is my real voice anymore? I don't even know.
Is that from acting class? Like, did you get the different voices, or just you did impressions as a kid?
I'm really actually bad at impressions. I think what happened was because I guess I sound younger. The podcast host, David, started casting me as children a lot. Mm-hmm. So from doing that, I just kind of naturally went into sometimes doing, the standard stereotypical anime girl voice, which was what I had to do on stream for a very, very long period of time when we streamed Doki Doki.
Mm-hmm. I think you have. I mean, well, I know they